General Zexthai stood in front of the large screen in his command room. His 6 eyes studied the report that had just come in from his scout team. The blue light from the screen made his gray skin look even paler than usual. His long fingers drummed against the metal table as he read the words again. "Mission complete, General," the report said. 8 specimens captured from the 3rd planet. Species appears to be small bipedal creatures. Very primitive technology detected in the area. No signs of advanced civilization. Specimens are now in holding cell 7. Awaiting your orders, the general felt pleased. This was exactly what the Corvani Empire needed. New species to study. New worlds to add to their collection. His superiors would be happy with this success. Maybe he would finally get the promotion he had been waiting for. "Commander Velson," he called to his second-in-command. "Bring me the visual records from the capture mission." Commander Velson walked over with a small device in his hands. His movements were quick and nervous. He always acted this way around. The general: "Yes, sir. The records are ready for your review." The screen changed to show moving pictures from the scout mission. General Zexthai watched as his soldiers moved through a dark forest on the alien planet. The trees were tall and green. Strange sounds came from the darkness around them. His soldiers carried their energy weapons and scanning devices as they searched for life forms. "There," Commander Velson pointed at the screen. The heat sensors picked up 8 life forms in that area, small and warm-blooded. Perfect for our research needs. The general watched as his soldiers found a small camp in a clearing. Several small shelters were set up in a circle. A fire burned in the middle, sending smoke up into the night sky. The heat sensors showed 8 small figures sleeping inside the shelters. "Good work by the team," the general said. "Clean and simple. Capture. No resistance from the primitive creatures." The screen showed his soldiers using sleep gas to keep the creatures unconscious during transport. Then they carried 8 small forms to their scout ship. The figures were wrapped in some kind of colorful material. The general assumed it was primitive clothing or bedding. "Sir," Commander Velson said in a quiet voice, "there is something else you should see." "What is it?" the general asked. The medical scanner took some basic readings during transport. The results are ... unusual. Commander Velson pressed some buttons on his device. New information appeared. On the screen, numbers and charts filled the display. The general studied them with growing interest. "The bone structure is different from what we expected," Commander Velson explained. "And the brain activity is much higher than normal for creatures of this size. Even while unconscious, their minds showed complex patterns." The general felt his first small worry begin to grow in his stomach. How complex? More complex than some of the adult species we have captured from other worlds. The worry grew bigger. General Zexthai had been doing this job for many years. He had captured hundreds of different species from dozens of planets. He knew what primitive creatures looked like. He knew how they acted. This was starting to feel different. "Show me the creatures themselves," he ordered. Commander Velson hesitated. "Sir, perhaps we should discuss the capture location first. Our scouts found some interesting items around the camp area." "What kind of items?" "Tools, very well-made tools, and materials that suggest advanced knowledge of chemistry and engineering. Nothing that should exist on a primitive world." The general's worry turned into real concern. "Show me the visual records of the creatures, now." The screen changed again. This time, it showed the inside of holding cell 7 on their ship. 8 small figures lay sleeping on the metal floor. The general moved closer to the screen to get a better look. His concern exploded into panic. The creatures were not the primitive adults he had expected. They were clearly juveniles, young ones, children of their species. Their faces were soft and young. Their bodies were small, not because their species was small, but because they had not finished growing yet. By the void, the general whispered. What have we done? He stared at the sleeping forms on the screen. One of the young creatures stirred in its sleep and made a small sound. Another one moved closer to its companion, as if seeking comfort. These were not specimens. These were someone's offspring. Commander, the general said in a voice that shook slightly, tell me again about the technology our scouts found near the capture site. Commander Velson, nervousness increased. Tools made from refined metals. Devices that appear to use controlled combustion for light and heat. Synthetic materials that require advanced chemical knowledge to create. And sir, ... What? There were pictures. Images of adult members of this species. They are much larger. Than these young ones? Much larger. The general felt sick. His successful mission had just become a disaster. He had not captured primitive specimens from a backward world. He had kidnapped children from a species that might be intelligent. Possibly. Very intelligent. How long until we reach the home system? He asked. 18 standard days, sir. 18 days. 18 days with someone else's children on his ship. 18 days to figure out what to do about the worst mistake of his military career. The general looked at the screen again. The young creatures were starting to wake up. One of them sat up and looked around the holding cell with wide eyes. It made sounds that might have been attempts to communicate with the others. Soon all 8 were awake and huddled together in the center of the cell. Sir, Commander Velson said quietly, what are your orders? General Zexthai watched the young creatures comfort each other with gentle touches and soft sounds. They showed care for one another. They showed intelligence in how they grouped together for safety. They showed emotion in their movements and expressions. He had made the biggest mistake possible in first contact situations. He had taken the young of an unknown species. If their adult forms were as intelligent as the evidence suggested, this could mean war. It could mean the end of his career. It could mean the end of much more than that. Orders, sir? Commander Velson asked again. Treat them well, the general said finally. Feed them properly. Keep them comfortable. And pray to whatever gods you believe in that their species is more forgiving than we would be if someone took our young. The general turned away from the screen, but the image of 8 frightened children stayed in his mind. His successful mission had become his worst nightmare, and it was just beginning. Jake Martinez opened his eyes slowly. The first thing he noticed was that everything was wrong. The ground under him was cold metal instead of his sleeping bag. The air smelled strange, like chemicals and machines. The walls around him were smooth and gray, not the canvas of his tent. He sat up quickly and looked around. 7 other kids were with him in what looked like a small room with no windows. His little brother Danny was still sleeping next to him. The Chun twins, Amy and Lisa, were holding hands and staring at the walls with wide eyes. Kevin and Maya Johnson sat close together near one corner. Sam Parker was already standing up, touching the walls and looking for a way out. Katie Williams was helping the younger kids stay calm. Where are we? Whispered Amy Chun. She was only 8 years old. But she was smart. Everyone knew Amy was smart. I don't know, Jake said. He was 10, the oldest of the group. That made him the leader, even though he did not ask for the job. But we're not at camp anymore. Danny woke up and immediately started crying. Jake put his arm around his 7-year-old brother. It's okay, Danny. We're going to figure this out. I want to go home, Danny said between sobs. I want Mom and Dad. All the kids wanted their parents, but crying would not help them now. Jake looked around the room again. There was a door, but it had no handle on their side. There was a small opening in one wall that looked like it might give them food or water. Strange lights came from the ceiling, but there were no light switches anywhere. "Look at this," Sam Parker called from one corner. He was 9 and loved taking things apart to see how they worked. "This wall is different. It feels warm." "Katie." Williams walked over to Sam. She was 9 too, and she was good at organizing things. At summer camp, she always helped the counselors plan activities. "Maybe it's some kind of machine," she said. Lisa Chun, Amy's twin sister, pointed at the ceiling. "Those lights don't look like any lights I've ever seen. They don't flicker at all." Kevin Johnson was trying to make his 6-year-old sister Maya feel better. Maya was the youngest and the most scared. She kept asking for her mommy in a very quiet voice. "We need to stay together," Jake told everyone. "And we need to pay attention to everything. Maybe we can figure out where we are and how to get home." Over the next few hours, strange things happened. Food appeared in the small opening in the wall. It did not look like any food they had ever seen. It was gray and had no smell. But they were hungry, so they tried it. It tasted like nothing, but it filled their stomachs. Water came from another opening. It was clean and cold. The kids took turns drinking and washing their faces. Then they heard sounds from outside their room. Footsteps, but not human footsteps. These sounded different. Heavier, with more legs. "Someone's coming," Katie whispered. They all huddled together in the center of the room. The door made a hissing sound and slid open. 3 tall figures walked in. They were not human. The aliens were taller than any adult the kids had ever seen. They had gray skin and 6 eyes arranged in 2 rows on their faces. Their arms were long and thin, with too many joints. They wore clothes that looked like they were made of metal and plastic. Maya started crying again. Kevin held her tighter. All the kids pressed closer together. One of the aliens made sounds that might have been words, but in a language none of them understood. It sounded like clicking and humming mixed together. Danny surprised everyone by listening carefully to the alien sounds. Then he tried to copy one of the clicks with his tongue. The alien stopped talking and stared at him. "Danny, what are you doing?" Jake whispered. "I think they're trying to talk to us," Danny said. "I'm good at copying sounds. Remember how I learned to whistle like all those birds at camp?" Danny was right. He had always been good with sounds and voices. He could copy anyone's way of talking after hearing it just a few times. The alien made the clicking sound again. Danny copied it perfectly. Then the alien made a different sound, like humming. Danny tried that too. He was not perfect, but it was close. The aliens looked at each other with their many eyes. One of them made a long series of sounds. Danny listened very carefully and tried to repeat parts of it. "He's learning their language," Amy Chun said in wonder. Amy was smart about words and books. She could see what Danny was doing. While Danny worked on alien sounds, the other kids paid attention to everything else. Sam Parker watched how the aliens moved and how their clothes worked. The Chun twins studied the way the aliens looked at things and touched the walls. Katie Williams noticed how the aliens seemed to have a leader who made decisions for the others. Kevin Johnson saw that. The aliens seemed curious about them. Not mean or scary, just curious. Like scientists studying something new. Maya had stopped crying and was drawing pictures in the dust on the floor with her finger. One of the aliens kept looking at her drawings. After a while, the aliens left. The door closed behind them with the same hissing sound. "They're not trying to hurt us," Katie said when they were alone again. "They just want to know about us." "But why?" asked Lisa Chun. "Why did they take us away from camp?" "Maybe they don't know we're kids," Jake said. "Maybe they think we're grown-ups from a really small species." Amy Chun nodded. "That would make sense. If they've never seen humans before, they wouldn't know how big we're supposed to be." Over the next few days, the aliens came to visit them several times. Danny got better at understanding their language. He learned that their captors were called Corvani. He learned words for food, water, sleep, and questions. Sam Parker figured out how to make the food dispenser work better. He found that if he pressed it in a certain way, the food tasted a little better. The aliens noticed this and seemed impressed. Chun twins discovered that some of the wall panels could be moved. They found hidden spaces with interesting machines behind them. They were careful not to break anything, but they learned how some things worked. Katie Williams organized everyone's daily schedule. She made sure the younger kids got enough rest and food. She helped settle arguments and kept everyone working. Together as a team, Kevin Johnson used his jokes and funny faces to keep Maya happy. Soon he was making all the kids laugh, even in their strange prison. His laughter seemed to confuse the aliens, who had never heard sounds like that before. Maya's drawings got more detailed. She drew pictures of Earth, of trees and flowers, and animals. She drew pictures of her family and home. The aliens stared at these drawings for long periods of time. By the end of the first week, the kids had changed their prison into something that felt more like home. They had routines and rules. They had jobs for everyone. They took care of each other. More importantly, they were changing their alien captors. Some of the Corvani started bringing them better food. Others brought soft materials to make sleeping more comfortable. One alien, who seemed to be a doctor, checked on their health every day and appeared worried about their well-being. The kids did not know it yet, but they were doing something no other captured species had ever done. They were making their captors care about them. And that was going to change everything. Agent Lisa Rodriguez stood at the edge of the campsite and stared at the empty tents. 3 days had passed since 8 children vanished from this spot in the Colorado mountains. 3 days of searching with dogs, helicopters, and hundreds of volunteers. 3 days of finding nothing. "Tell me again what the camp counselors saw," she said to Sheriff Tom Brady. He was a good man who knew these mountains better than anyone. If the kids were lost in the woods, he would have found them by now. "Jenny Adams and Mike Collins were the night counselors," Sheriff Brady said. "They heard some kind of humming sound around midnight. Then they saw bright lights moving through the trees. When they went to check on the kids, all 8 tents were empty." Agent Rodriguez walked to the center of the campsite. The fire pit was cold now, but she could still see where the children had roasted marshmallows that evening. Their camping gear was still there. Their backpacks, their clothes, everything except the children themselves. "No signs of struggle," she said. "No footprints leading away from camp. No broken branches or disturbed ground where someone might have carried them off." Dr. Maria Santos joined them at the fire pit. She was a child psychologist who worked with the FBI on missing children cases. "I've been talking to the other campers," she said. "The ones who were camping half a mile away. Several of them reported seeing strange lights in the sky that night. Lights that moved in patterns no aircraft should be able to make." Sheriff Brady nodded. "I've been getting calls about that all week. People in 3 different counties saw unusual lights Tuesday night. All around the same time, the kids disappeared." Agent Rodriguez had worked missing children cases for 15 years. She had seen kidnappings, accidents, and runaways. This was different. This felt like something that should not be possible. "What about the electromagnetic readings?" she asked Dr. Santos. "That's the strangest part," Dr. Santos replied. "The equipment we brought detected high levels of electromagnetic activity at this exact spot. The readings are off the charts. Whatever happened here involved technology we don't understand." 200 miles away, in a building that did not officially exist, Director John Carter was having the worst week of his career. The Space Defense Initiative was supposed to watch for threats from space. They were supposed to protect Earth from asteroids, solar flares, and theoretical alien invasions. They were not supposed to deal with alien invasions that had already happened. "Show me the data again," he told his senior analyst, Sophie Turner. She was brilliant with numbers and patterns. If anyone could make sense of this mess, it would. Be her. Sophie Turner brought up the information on the main screen. Tuesday night at 11:47 p.m., our deep space monitors detected an energy signature entering Earth's atmosphere over Colorado. The signature was unlike anything in our database. Not natural phenomena, not human technology. Director Carter studied the display. Red dots showed the path of whatever had come from space. It moved too fast to be a meteor. It changed direction too many times to be space debris. It had to be controlled by intelligence. The signature disappeared for approximately 43 minutes, Sophie continued. Then we detected the same energy pattern leaving Earth's atmosphere at 12:30 a.m. Whatever it was, it came here, stayed for less than an hour, then left. Webb, the initiative's communications expert, joined them at the display. "Sir, we've been monitoring all radio and internet traffic in the area. At exactly 12:30 a.m., 8 children disappeared from a campsite directly under the departure point of that energy signature." Director Carter felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. First contact with alien intelligence had finally happened, and it had gone as badly as possible. "Are you telling me that aliens came to Earth and kidnapped 8 children? "That appears to be exactly what happened, sir," Sophie Turner said. Colonel Patricia Hayes, the initiative's military advisor, entered the room carrying a thick folder. "Sir, I've been reviewing our contingency plans. We have protocols for alien invasion, alien communication attempts, and alien technology recovery. We do not have protocols for alien kidnapping of human children." "What do we have?" Director Carter asked. "3 options," Colonel Hayes replied. 1. We treat this as a standard missing persons case and hope the aliens bring the children back on their own. 2. We go public with the information and let the world know we've made contact with hostile aliens. 3. We find a way to track and follow them. Dr. Robert Kim, the team's xenobiologist, spoke up from his workstation. "Sir, if I may suggest a 4th option. We assume the aliens did not intend to take children. Most intelligent species would recognize that taking the young of another species is an act of war. This might have been a mistake." "A mistake?" Director Carter asked. "Think about it from their perspective," Dr. Kim explained. "If they've never encountered humans before, they might not know what adult humans look like. 8 small humans camping in the wilderness could appear to be a group of adult members of a diminutive species." Lieutenant Commander Alex Morgan, the team's communications specialist, looked up from her computer. "That theory matches the behavioral evidence. If this was intended as an attack or invasion, we would have seen more alien activity. Multiple ships, broader targeting. This looks like a single reconnaissance mission that went wrong." Director Carter considered this. "So you're saying aliens accidentally kidnapped 8 human children while trying to capture what they thought were adult specimens of an unknown species?" "That's our working theory, yes, sir. And now they have 8 scared children on an alien spaceship heading to God knows where in the galaxy." "Yes, sir." Director Carter was quiet for a long moment. Then he made the decision that would change human history. "We're going after them." Colonel Hayes looked surprised. "Sir, we don't have the technology for interstellar travel. Then we'll have to develop it fast." Director Carter turned to address the entire team. "I want every scientist, engineer, and military strategist we have working on this problem. We're going to find those children and bring them home." "Sophie?" Turner spoke up. "Sir, with respect, that could take years. Maybe decades. We're talking about technology advances that might be beyond our current capabilities. Then we'll learn. We'll adapt. We'll do whatever it takes. Director Carter's voice was firm. 8 American children are somewhere out there in space, probably. Terrified and alone. We are not going to abandon them. Marcus Webb was already working at his computer. I'm pulling every favor we have with NASA, the Air Force, and private space companies. If we're going to build a ship capable of interstellar travel, we'll need resources from everyone. Dr. Kim was making notes on his tablet. I'll start analyzing the energy signature data. If we can understand their propulsion technology, we might be able to develop something similar. Lieutenant Commander Morgan looked up from her station. Sir, I'm detecting something else. The alien ship's departure vector suggests they're heading toward a specific star system. If we can identify their destination, we might be able to intercept them. How long do we have? Director Carter asked. Based on the energy signature analysis, I estimate their ship is traveling at approximately 40% the speed of light. Depending on their destination, we might have anywhere from 6 months to 2 years before they reach their home system. Director. Carter nodded. That's our timeline then. 6 months to 2 years to develop interstellar travel, build a ship, and mount a rescue mission. Colonel Haas frowned. Sir, that's impossible. No one can develop that kind of technology in such a short time. Colonel, 3 days ago, everyone would have said alien contact was impossible too. We're going to prove that humans can do impossible things when we have to. As the team began their work, none of them knew that far above Earth's atmosphere, sensors on alien ships were already detecting the burst of activity from the Space Defense Initiative. The Corvani Empire was about to learn that taking human children had been much more than a simple mistake, that it had been the beginning of something that would change the galaxy forever. Danny Martinez was getting better at speaking Corvani every day. After 2 weeks on the alien ship, he could understand most of what the aliens said to each other. He could ask for things the children needed. More importantly, he was learning things about their captors that surprised him. They don't have families like we do, Danny told the other children during their evening talk time. This was when they shared everything they had learned during the day. The tall one with the scar on his face told me that Corvani children are raised by the government. Parents give their babies to special schools when they are born. Jake Martinez looked shocked. They never see their parents again? Sometimes for ceremonies. But they don't live together like human families do. Maya Johnson held up her newest drawing. She had been making pictures every day with materials that Medical Officer Threndy brought her. This picture showed a human family sitting around a dinner table. A mother, father, and 3 children were smiling and sharing food. Threndy stared at this picture for a long time today, Maya said in her quiet voice. She kept touching it with her finger. Then she made sad sounds. Katie Williams had been organizing their daily activities like a camp counselor. I think the aliens are getting confused about us. Yesterday, when I was teaching Kevin and Maya that clapping game, 3 aliens stopped in the hallway to watch. It looked like they had never seen anything like it before. Kevin Johnson grinned. You should have seen their faces when I told that joke about the chicken crossing the road. Sam translated it into Corvani clicks and humming. 2 of the guards made sounds that might have been laughing. Sam Parker was always busy studying how things worked on the ship. I fixed another food machine today. The aliens were amazed that I could figure out their technology so fast. One of them said something to Danny about humans having unusual mechanical intuition. What does that mean? Asked Lisa Chun. It means they think we're naturally good at understanding machines, Amy Chun answered. She had been listening to the aliens' conversations too, picking up words and phrases. They keep saying we learn things too quickly. The twins had made an important discovery that week. While exploring the ship during their exercise time, they had found the weakness in the defense systems. A small panel in the wall could be opened with the right combination of button presses. Behind it were controls for the ship's weapons and shields. We could probably shut down their main guns if we needed to, Lisa whispered to her sister. But we should keep that secret for now. Amy nodded. It might be useful later. The children did not know that their presence on the ship was causing major problems for the Corvani crew. Medical Officer Threndy was having trouble sleeping. Every night, she looked at Maya's drawings of human families and wondered what it would be like to live that way, to eat meals together, to take care of each other because of love, not duty. Engineer Colvin had started looking forward to Sam Parker's visits to the engine room. The human child asked questions that made him think about his work in new ways. Sam's improvements to various systems were actually making the ship run better. Colvin had never seen anyone understand technology so naturally. Security. Chief Nimdar was confused by Kevin Johnson's constant jokes and games. The human child seemed to find joy in everything, even their imprisonment. This was not how prisoners were supposed to act. Nimdar found himself looking forward to Kevin's silly performances, even though he did not understand why Guard Captain Rexmore had never heard sounds like human laughter before. When the children played together, they made noises that seemed to express pure happiness. Rexmore discovered that these sounds made him feel strange inside, warm, peaceful. He had started bringing the children extra food just to hear them make happy sounds. Most affected was Threndy, the ship's medical officer. She had examined thousands of different species during her career. She knew how to study alien biology without getting emotionally involved. But these human children were different. They cared about each other in ways she had never seen before. When one was sad, the others worked to make them feel better. When one was scared, the others gathered around them for comfort. They shared their food equally. They took turns helping with tasks. They seemed to love each other just for being together. Threndy had started spending more time than necessary in the children's cell. She told herself it was for medical observation. But really, she just wanted to watch how they treated each other. She wanted to understand what family love looked like. One day, Maya drew a picture of an alien that looked like Threndy. In the picture, Threndy was smiling and holding hands with human children. Maya gave the picture to her with a shy smile. Threndy stared at the drawing for a long time. No one had ever made a picture of her before. No one had ever drawn her looking happy. She carefully folded the paper and put it in her uniform pocket. That night, Threndy went to see Commander Velson. "Sir, I need to report something about the human specimens." "What is it, medical officer?" "They are not specimens, sir. They are children. Intelligent, emotional, social children who belong with their families." Commander Velson looked uncomfortable. "That is not our concern. We follow orders." "Sir, these children are changing our crew." Half the soldiers ask to be assigned to guard duty near their cell. The other half request transfers away from this section because they cannot handle watching imprisoned young ones. This is affecting ship discipline. How so? Guard Captain Rexmore has been sharing his personal food rations with them. Engineer Colvin spends his off-duty time teaching the Parker child about our technology. 3 crew members have requested to learn the human language. The children's emotional responses are spreading through the ship like an infection. Commander Velson was quiet for a moment. An infection? They make us feel things we have never felt before. Protective feelings. Caring feelings. Some crew members have started talking about what it would be like to have families instead of just military units. This was exactly what Commander Velson had been afraid of. He had seen the crew's behavior changing. He had noticed aliens lingering in the corridors near the human cell. He had heard crew members talking quietly about things that had nothing to do with military duty. What do you recommend, medical officer? We should return them to their home planet immediately, before they cause more disruption to Corvani military order. That decision is above my authority level. Only General Zexthai can make that choice. Then we need to speak with the general, soon, because these human children are doing something no other captured species has ever done. They are making us question our entire way of life. Meanwhile, in their cell, the 8 children continued their daily routines. They did not know that they were winning a war without fighting. They did not know that their simple human behaviors were more powerful than any weapon the Corvani had ever encountered. They were just being themselves, caring for each other, learning about their captors, adapting to their situation with the resilience that made humans special. And with every passing day, they were proving that humanity's greatest strength was not technology or weapons. It was their ability to make others care about them, even across the vast differences between species. The Corvani were learning that some things in the universe were more dangerous than military might. Things like love, family, hope, and the innocent trust of children who believed that everyone deserved kindness. They were learning that they had not captured specimens. They had captured teachers. And the lessons these teachers were sharing would change the Corvani Empire forever. General Zexthai sat in his private office and read the science report for the 4th time. Each time he read it, he felt more sick to his stomach. The report was supposed to be about 8 primitive specimens from a backward planet. Instead, it read like a warning about the most dangerous species the Corvani Empire had ever encountered. Subject analysis summary. The report began. Despite juvenile status, specimens display cognitive abilities exceeding adult members of 17 previously catalogued species. Problem-solving skills are remarkable. Social cooperation is unlike anything in our database. Stress adaptation is extraordinary. The general put down the datapad and rubbed his eyes with his long fingers. The report got worse from there. Much worse. Specimens have demonstrated rapid language acquisition. One juvenile mastered basic Corvani communication in 14 standard days. This learning speed suggests adult members of the species may possess advanced linguistic capabilities. General Zexthai remembered learning Corvani as a child. It had taken him 6 months to speak simple sentences. These human children were learning in 2 weeks what took his own species months to understand. Physical analysis indicates specimens are adapted for high-stress environments. Bone density suggests they evolved on a high-gravity world. Muscle structure shows they are built for endurance and versatility. Neural activity patterns indicate complex emotional and social processing capabilities. The general stood up and walked to the window that showed the stars outside. They were still 6 days away from the Corvani home system. 6 days before he would have to explain this disaster to his superiors. His door chimed. Enter, he called. Commander Velson walked in carrying another datapad. His face looked even more worried than usual. Sir, we have the preliminary analysis of the specimen's home planet. Let me guess. It's worse than we thought. Much worse, sir. Commander Velson activated a display screen on the wall. Long range. Scans show a species that has developed from primitive hunter-gatherers to space-capable civilization in less than 10,000 years. General Zexthai stared at the numbers on the screen. That's impossible. Our own development took over 200,000 years. Yes, sir, but the evidence is clear. They have nuclear weapons. They have satellites. They have begun preliminary space exploration. And, sir, they did all of this while fighting wars among themselves and dealing with massive environmental challenges. The display showed images of Earth taken from space. Cities glowing with electric lights, ships crossing the oceans. Aircraft flying through the atmosphere. It looked like the homeworld of an advanced species, not the primitive planet his scouts had reported. How did our initial surveys miss this? The general asked. The specimens were captured from a wilderness area far from any major population centers. Our scouts assumed the simple camping equipment indicated the species' technological level. They were wrong. General Zextai felt his panic growing into real terror. Show me the population analysis. Commander Velson pressed more controls. New numbers appeared on the screen. Current population is estimated at over 7 billion individuals. Military analysis suggests they have multiple nation-states with advanced weapon systems. Nuclear. Arsenals number in the thousands. 7 billion? The general's voice was barely a whisper. The entire Corvani Empire had a population of 12 billion spread across 47 star systems. This one planet had over half their total population. There's more, sir. Cultural analysis suggests this species places extreme value on their young. Taking their children may be considered the worst possible act of aggression. The general sat down heavily in his chair. Explain. Our xenosociology team has been analyzing the specimen's behavior patterns. Human children appear to be the center of their family structures. Adults will sacrifice their own lives to protect young ones. If our actions are discovered, we may have just declared war on a species of 7 billion individuals who consider child protection their highest priority. A new alarm started flashing on the general's desk. He touched the control panel. What now? Sir, came the voice of Security Chief Nimdar. We have a discipline problem. 3 more crew members have requested transfer away from the human containment area. 2 others have been caught bringing unauthorized supplies to the specimens. Guard Captain Rexmore was found teaching the human children Corvani military songs. Military songs? Yes, sir. The children learned them perfectly and have been singing them together. The sound appears to have a strong emotional effect on crew. Members who hear it. General Zextai closed his eyes. His own crew was being converted by 8 enemy children. Children who were not even trying to escape or cause trouble. They were just being themselves, and somehow that was more dangerous than any weapon. Sir, Commander Velson continued, there's something else. Medical Officer Threndy has been making detailed records of the specimen's social behaviors. Her reports suggest that human family structures may be superior to our current military organization system. Superior how? Increased cooperation, better emotional stability, higher motivation levels. The specimens show care for each other that results in better performance from the entire group. Threndy believes human family bonding creates stronger, more effective units than our standard military hierarchy. The general's panic reached new levels. Not only had he kidnapped the children of a potentially hostile species, but those children were now converting his crew to their alien social systems. Are you telling me that 8 human children are causing a breakdown in Corvani military discipline? Yes, sir. Half the crew wants to protect them. The other half is afraid of them. No one wants to follow standard prisoner protocols anymore. Another alarm sounded. This time it was from the communication station. General, came the voice of Communications Officer Dextar. We're receiving unusual signals from the direction of the human home system. What kind of signals? High-energy transmissions. Multiple sources. The patterns suggest rapid technological development is occurring across their entire planet. Sir, it looks like they're mobilizing. General Zextai felt the last of his composure. Disappear. Mobilizing for what? Unknown, sir. But the energy signatures are increasing daily. Whatever they're doing it very quickly, and with the cooperation of their entire species. Commander Velson looked at the general with worry in all 6 of his eyes. Sir, what are your orders? General Zextai stared at the reports, covering his desk. Intelligence analysis showing that humans were more dangerous than expected. Behavioral reports showing that human children were converting his crew. Communication intercepts suggesting that Earth was preparing some kind of response. Sir? Commander Velson asked again. I need to speak with the specimens directly, the general said finally. Sir, if we're going to survive this, I need to understand what we're dealing with. Arrange a meeting with the human children. All of them. Is that wise, sir? Given their effect on the crew? General Zexthai looked at his second in command. Commander, we have kidnapped the children of a species that has nuclear weapons, 7 billion population, and the ability to develop advanced technology in months instead of centuries. Their young ones are converting our crew to their way of thinking without even trying, and their home planet is mobilizing in response to their disappearance. He stood up and walked toward the door. At this point, talking to them directly cannot possibly make things worse. But as General Zexthai headed toward the human containment area, he had a terrible feeling that he was wrong. Everything about this situation had been worse than expected. Meeting with 8 human children who had already proven capable of changing. Corvani behavior would probably be the worst idea yet. Still, he had to try. Because in 6 days, he would reach the Corvani home system. And when he did, he would have to explain to the Empire's highest leaders how a simple specimen collection mission had turned into the greatest threat the Corvani had ever faced. The general just hoped that 8 human children would be willing to help him figure out how to fix the biggest mistake in military history. The Corvani ship dropped out of hyperspace near their home system and immediately detected something that should not have been there. Admiral Sarah Mitchell's human fleet was waiting for them. Impossible, General Zexthai whispered as he stared. At the display screen, 5 human ships hung in space between his vessel and the safety of Corvani space. The ships looked crude compared to Corvani technology, but they were there. Somehow, impossibly, the humans had followed them across interstellar space. Sir, Commander Velson reported from his station, the human vessels are hailing us. There, demanding the return of their young ones. General Zexthai felt his worst nightmare coming true. In just 3 weeks, humanity had developed interstellar travel and built a rescue fleet. No species in galactic history had ever advanced that quickly. Put them through, he ordered. The main screen lit up with the image of a human female in military uniform. Her face was stern but controlled. Behind her, the general could see other humans working at stations covered with primitive but functional technology. This is Admiral Sarah Mitchell of the United Earth Defense Force, the human, said, You have taken 8 of our children. We want them back, now. General Zexthai tried to maintain his composure. I am General Zexthai of the Corvani Empire. Your children are safe and unharmed. However, they are now subjects of scientific study under imperial law. Admiral Mitchell's expression did not change, but something dangerous flickered in her eyes. General, let me explain something to you about human law. Taking our children is an act of war. Return them immediately, or we will take them back by force. Your ships are outnumbered and outgunned, General Zexthai replied, though he was not as confident as he sounded. We suggest you withdraw before this situation escalates. General, Admiral Mitchell said calmly, you made a mistake when you took our kids. But your biggest mistake was giving us time to get angry about it. At that moment, alarms began sounding throughout the Corvani ship. Security Chief Nimdar's voice came over the communication system. General, we have a problem. The human specimens have escaped their containment cell. How is that possible? Unknown, sir. The cell door is open and they are not inside. General Zexthai realized that while he had been talking to the human admiral, the children had been implementing an escape plan. Find them, now. But it was too late. Throughout the ship, Carefully planned chaos was beginning. In the engine room, Sam Parker was putting his mechanical knowledge to work. Over the past 3 weeks, he had learned exactly how the ship's systems operated. Now he was using that knowledge to cause cascade failures throughout the vessel. Power fluctuations began affecting every deck. In the weapons control center, the Chun twins were accessing the hidden panel they had discovered weeks earlier. Amy pressed the sequence of buttons they had memorized, while Lisa activated the shutdown commands. The ship's main guns began powering down just as General Zexthai ordered them to fire on the human fleet. In the communication center, Danny Martinez was using his language skills for something more important than translation. He was broadcasting a message throughout the ship in perfect Corvani, telling the crew that the human children wanted to go home and that fighting would only hurt everyone. Throughout the corridors, Kevin and Maya Johnson were doing what they did best. Kevin was making the crew laugh and feel confused about their orders, while Maya was showing her drawings to every alien she met. Her pictures of human families and Earth's beauty were causing Corvani soldiers to hesitate and question what they were doing. Katie Williams had taken charge of coordinating the escape plan, just as she had organized their daily life in captivity. Jake Martinez was protecting the younger children and making sure everyone stayed together as they moved through the ship. The plan was working perfectly. The children had spent 3 weeks learning about their captors, understanding the ship's systems, and building relationships with crew members. Now they were using all of that knowledge to disable the vessel without hurting anyone. On the bridge, General Zexthai watched his ship fall apart around him. "Report," he demanded. "Weapons are offline," Commander Velson reported. "Engines are fluctuating. Communications are compromised. And, sir, half the crew is refusing to follow orders to recapture the human children." Refusing orders? Medical Officer Threndy has barricaded herself in the medical bay. She says she will not allow anyone to harm the specimens. Guard Captain. Rexmore is actively helping the children move through the ship. 3 engineering teams have abandoned their posts to protect the humans. General Zexthai realized that his crew had been completely converted. The human children had won without fighting. They had conquered a Corvani military vessel using nothing but kindness, curiosity, and the natural human ability to make others care about them. "Sir," Communications Officer Dexter called out, "the human admiral is hailing us again." Admiral Mitchell's face reappeared on the screen. This time she was smiling slightly. "General, it seems your ship is having some technical difficulties. Our children are very smart. They've been planning this for weeks." "How did you know?" "Because they're human children, General. Underestimating human children is always a mistake." At that moment, the bridge doors opened and 8 human children walked in, followed by Medical Officer Threndy and several other Corvani crew members. The children looked tired but determined. They had successfully taken control of an alien warship. Jake Martinez stepped forward. "General Zexthai, we want to go home now." The general stared at the 10-year-old boy who had just helped disable his ship. "How did you plan all of this?" "We learned about your ship by watching and listening," Amy Chun replied. "We made friends with your crew by being nice to them. And we figured out how to stop your weapons by exploring when you weren't watching." Danny Martinez added, "We also learned that your people have never had families like ours. They don't know what it feels like to be loved just for who they are. That's why they wanted to protect us instead of following orders." Katie Williams looked directly at the general. "We're not specimens, General. We're children who want to see our parents again. Your crew understands that now." General Zexthai looked around his bridge. His own officers were standing with the human children, protecting them from their commanding officer. His ship was disabled. His mission was a complete failure, but as he looked at the 8 young faces staring up at him, he realized something important. These children had taught his crew something that the Corvani Empire had forgotten. They had shown them what it meant to care for others, to protect the innocent, and to choose compassion over duty. "Admiral Mitchell," he said to the screen, "we will transfer the children to your ships immediately. No conditions. No demands. Thank you, General." "Admiral," General Zexthai continued, "I have a request. Medical Officer Threndy wishes to defect to your people. She has become attached to the children and believes your way of life is superior to ours." Admiral Mitchell looked at Threndy, who was standing protectively near Maya Johnson. "Officer Threndy, you're welcome to come with us. We'd be honored to have you." As the children prepared to leave the Corvani ship, General Zexthai sat down in his command chair and began composing his final report. It would be the most important document in Corvani military history. "Mission report," he began typing. "Specimen collection operation failed. Recommendation: declare human space off-limits to all Corvani operations. Species is extremely dangerous, especially the small ones." The 8 human children had gone home, but they had left behind something that would change the Corvani Empire forever. They had left behind the knowledge that there were things in the universe more powerful than weapons or conquest. Things like love, family, hope, and the innocent. Belief that everyone deserved kindness. The galaxy would never be the same.